These are the top 10 tips you're going to need to take your gaming setup from this to this without breaking the bank. Here's the first one. It's underrated and most of the time free, but cable management. Using cable ties, clips, or sleeves to organize and route cables neatly behind the desk or under it prevents tangling and creates a cleaner look. Generally, you can take a lot of the cables and stick them up under the desk, either Velcro, cable sleeves, cable ties, or even the little twisty ties that come with a lot of these electrical cables to tuck it up under the desk and keep it out of sight. The second tip is to invest in little things to help with that cable management, like the cable sleeves, zip ties, Velcro ties, and I like using a big roll of Velcro that you can cut to different lengths so that you can figure out what you actually want to use. So if you have like a big power strip, you can cut a long piece or cut a shorter multiple pieces if you want to stick something big but not use a bunch of the Velcro. And since this is a moving standing desk, we actually went with a cable sleeve for the power portion because it didn't need to go all the way down to the ground and then to the wall, so it just needs to go to the wall. We actually put a little snake up to the device and then put some Velcro on the bottom side of the desk to keep the sleeve in place while it goes up and down. In addition to all the Velcro, there's a slew of different products that you can actually use for cable management. So pick what you think looks nice and matches your budget and use that. For the next tip, we're actually going to go with figuring out what to use for your desk. So you could stay with whatever desk you have now, or if you're looking for a desk, the one we went with here, upgrading from the old desk, is the FlexiSpot E8. And we used the bamboo top with the telescoping leg. And this size is the 78 by 30 inch desktop size. This is a fantastic desk that is built very well. The legs are incredibly well built. Everything underneath the desk is steel, making an incredibly sturdy desktop to put all of your monitors and peripherals on. And it holds up to 325 pounds while being able to go to its max height, which is kind of crazy. You're never going to need that much weight, but it does mean if you wanted to, you could put your desktop on top of the desk in addition to all of your monitors. This also comes with a nice digital control panel, which has 4 height settings that you can adjust to so you don't have to sit there and press the button each time. You can just click it to where you want it, measure to where you want to stand, and then hit them for ease of access. In addition to having a nice USB port on the side so that you can charge different devices, and then put the cable back away after you're done for that clean look. They have a ton of different sizes and shapes and materials, so if you'd like to see, FlexiSpot sent this one out and sponsored this video portion. Check in the link below for the E8. Next up, we have deciding what type of monitor stands or stands you want to keep for your desk. Obviously, the cheapest option is keeping the monitor stands that the monitors come with and basically using your desk placement as your adjustment. So these monitors, we decided to keep the stands and route the cables behind them down the channel that they already have because we wanted to keep the cost down. Or you can use monitor stands that are attached to the desk like I have in this build here, where we took the monitor stands that the company actually makes. LG makes their own monitor stands that are always sold out for some reason, but they make their own that clip to the back of the desk, and I think they look really sharp since both have a quick release function to the monitors that I was going to be using. This really cleans up the cables because I'm able to route them all within the monitor arm itself, especially with the stand desk, because you won't have to worry about any things snagging. The next thing we want to talk about is peripherals. Using wireless peripherals is the best way to get that clean, no cable look, but if you would like a high polling rate keyboard or mouse, you're generally going to need a cable. So if you're looking for something like we have here, the Wooting, this can only achieve the high polling rate and the speed it does wired. This is in addition to any sort of controller you want to have, which I recommend keeping in like a drawer or something unless you have a nice controller stand, in addition to any sort of headphones or speakers that you have. Having these wired or wireless is going to make your cost of your setup depend very differently. Now for this build, we just decided to clean all of these SteelSeries stuff here because they were in good shape, but they just needed a deep cleaning. So we were able to use one of those electric dusters and tons of Windex and paper towels to get everything nice and clean again. In addition to organizing your peripherals, you also want to organize your gaming accessories. So we had this shelf on the right side of this build here, and we actually wanted to flip this to the side and then make it much nicer. So we took a bunch of the cubes, and this is an IKEA cube that you can get, and we actually put a bin in the bottom right so you can throw just like cables and stuff in there so that you can still use it as storage, but also putting a few different things on display that you don't want to have as storage. So putting a few different pieces of, you know, flair will actually make it look nicer because it's intentional. Like, hey, here are the 3 things that I really like and I want to see every day. Let's look at those. But in addition, I also need 1 cube for just to be, I don't know, charging cable for the headset. But up next, keeping that gaming setup clean. Running the vacuum, dusting, cleaning your monitors, headphones, and cleaning all of the peripherals you use will make your gaming setup feel a lot nicer because you're actually taking time to clean the space. When you got 9 inches of dust on the tops of your speakers, you don't notice it all the time, but after a while you're like, oh, this feels old and not nice anymore. After cleaning it, you'll feel much more refreshed and you'll be much prouder of your setup. And when people come over to look at your stuff and be like, oh, this is really nice. This is a nice space to sit and enjoy your free time. So the next tip is utilizing desk accessories. Organizers like the little bin we just talked about, or something like a headphone stand in addition to a mic stand, cable ties for the top that maybe look nicer than the little Velcro straps. These are just little accessories that make your desk feel nicer. Like, I have some fancy wooden coasters that I use every day that look pretty cool. It's like an acrylic wooden coaster, but it looks a lot nicer than I used to use bar coasters. In addition to having a mouse pad that I can actually throw in the wash that I use for my right-handed mouse. And this brings us to the idea of stands. So a controller stand that maybe comes with a controller or lights up or charges your controller, or maybe you have a handheld computer that you want to plug into a screen, you're gonna need a little stand for that to hold it. So maybe you just want to tinker on something and look at something while you're gaming, like maybe an old Game Boy or a PSP, or maybe your favorite Magic cards. Getting stands for these objects are one of the things that can set them apart from just them sitting on the desk and looking like clutter versus them being on display. Now, I've actually 3D printed these stands. I call them hollow stands, and I've designed them myself. If you're interested, please leave a comment down below. I'm trying to see if anybody would actually want to 3D print these themselves, or how many people would be interested in buying these if I made them. And the last tip that we have here for today is regular maintenance. Dedicating time once every few weeks to clean and declutter your gaming setup, wipe down the surfaces, dust your electronics. I mean, look how much of a difference the computer did when we sprayed it out of dust and cleaned the intakes. It looks so much better. In addition to organizing the cables and maintaining the clean environment will make your gaming so much nicer. Now, these are some easy tips, but if you'd like to see how you could upgrade your on-the-go gaming with one of these other videos, check these out, because we have a ton of other videos in the catalog about Steam Decks, Anbernic devices, and Android gaming that you may be interested in.